With God, there is always more. More love, more life, more freedom. Welcome to Zoe's Exploring More with Michael Thompson. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Our Heavenly Father has provided many delightful inns for us along our journey, but He takes great care to see that we do not mistake any of them for home." Join me and the team as we explore the kingdom together, discovering the deep truths and offering encouragement for the journey. There is always more.
Welcome to the Exploring More podcast. The guys are still out on assignment, and so we will continue the training and warfare series. This is part 4.
This kingdom of darkness. Hit that Oswald Chambers, Michael. Oswald Chambers said this: "Life without war is impossible, either in nature or in grace. I must learn to fight against and overcome the things that come against me, and in that way produce," right? Why do we have trials? For the production of a faith. To produce the balance of holiness, then it becomes a delight to meet the opposition, right? Go back to the knife commercial. What are they selling? Dangerous for good. Maybe you've forgotten about me. What do you see in the book of Acts when the disciples roll into town, right? Wyatt Earp and his buddies, Peter, Paul, and things start happening in the spiritual realm? You just go, set people free. They don't shoot the person, they shoot the demon that's got the person. Our battle's not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces, the principalities of this dark world. We are in enemy territory. Everybody loves the line in the Band of Brothers, right? When they parachute in, and it's just chaotic. I mean, they're dropped all over the place. They're getting shot at, but it doesn't deter them from the mission. They drop down. They're not unified at that point. And another soldier comes up to Captain Winters, Lieutenant Winters at the time, right? Says, "Hey, we're surrounded. We're paratroopers. We're always surrounded. We drop in to enemy territory. Right now we live in enemy-occupied territory, but most of us don't live that way. We have not yet taken our place. We've not yet unsheathed our sword, and we've not yet felt the weight of our shield and leaned in against the enemy's attempts to steal, kill, and destroy." Could you imagine what 300 men could do who knew what they were doing? Oh, man. It's just like Aragorn heard. That king could unleash an army of heavenly hosts into this. Somehow we have a role to play, a part that matters. We're not spectators. We're not cheerleaders. Nothing against cheerleaders. We are men created by the Most High God to partner with Him in the mission of love forever. I want my place in that lineup. But the kingdom of darkness is at work, and this false self is at work. Do you have the false self slide? So anytime I encounter another person, here's what's possible, okay? That's it. I could connect with Tony, true self, true self. I could connect with Scott, true self, false self. I could connect with Cliff, false self, true self. Sorry, you're the victim on that one. Or I could connect with my daughter, false self, false self. Understand this, false self always summons false self. 3 out of the 4 of these is what? See, this is important. How you see this, as long as there's a true self in the equation, what is true self supposed to summon? True self. 3 out of the 4 of these, you got a shot. Even if you're not in your right mind or right heart in that moment. But this is what the enemy is banking on, that you believe that 3 out of the 4 of these is bad. Because we've been conditioned to think that that's the most important thing in the story is sin and not sinning. The goal is not about not sinning. The goal is about becoming who you were meant to be. That will take care of itself. But the enemy will not be done with you, not on this side. So how it works, it's truth versus lies. If lies bind you, what is the promise that truth will do? Set you free. And I love how you put it, Tom. There's wisdom. You can memorize all the verses, right? You can memorize all the verses, the truth, and you should. How many pastors do you know have gone down in flames? Is it because they don't know the truth? They got it memorized. They teach it every Sunday. And I'm not picking on them. What I'm saying is the enemy is picking on them. It's not just intellectual consent. And yes, the word is active and living, if it is in somebody who's active and living. So, that's why the personal theology and the biblical theology have to merge in the experiences and the encounters you have with Jesus. Nobody could tell Peter, Paul, James, and John differently. That's why they were men on a mission. They had experienced and encountered him. Truth. I don't want to show it, but you remember Robert the Bruce in Braveheart? We don't have time. Whose voice did he listen to that took him out? It's the ability to compromise that makes men noble, his father says. And Wallace, there's an encounter that William Wallace has with Robert the Bruce and says, if you would just take up the place that's yours, the people would follow you. And then you know what William says to him? And I would follow you. And the camera zooms into the Bruce, the weightiness of your position. What you believe matters, right? Truth versus lies. So let me ask you, what is the power of a lie? What is the only power, and it's a big one, what is the power that a lie has? It's that you believe it. It's that you believe it. Once you realize that it's not true, it's not the truest thing, now the battle's really on. And you can exchange the lies for the truth. So look at the map. Here's the whole map again you have in your hands. And this is the question that I had to jump to, right? When in the world did I believe that I could control all that? That's a lie. See, I'm in the center of the story. I can control my kids, my wife, my finances, my friends, my world. That's not the story that I was made for. I'm in the center of the story, and I'm in much too small of a story. I can't control this, but I can be a part of this. And so can you. 2 Corinthians 10, for though we walk in the flesh as mortal men, we are not carrying on our spiritual warfare according to the flesh and using the weapons of man. The weapons of our warfare are not physical weapons of flesh and blood. Our weapons are divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses.
Hey listeners, SJ here. Just wanted to let you know about an upcoming event we've got on the calendar for men. It's called the Heart of a Warrior Encounter West, October 21st through the 24th, 2021, at Young Life's Trail West Camp in Buena Vista, Colorado. It is a beautiful camp, and if you've never been to Colorado, this is a great excuse to visit. That's October 21st through 24th, 2021. And if you want more information, visit zoe.org/events. I hope to see you there.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring More. The landing page for this podcast is zoe.org/podcast. That's ZOWEH.org/podcast, where you can find the show notes and various platforms to which we broadcast. You can also find us and the Life of More by visiting Zoe on YouVersion Bible app, Right Now Media, our Facebook page, and Zoe on Instagram and Twitter. Remember, with God there is always more, and you were made for more.